Achar kach, and afterwards, imru lifonai zichroinois kidei sheyale zichroinechem l'toiva lifonai. After we finish with the Malchiyos, making the Eibishter king, then we go over to the other psukim in which we say before me remembrance, so that your remembrance should be going up for the good before me. So what is the idea of Zichroinus? So we do Malchis. You have Malchis, Zichroinus, and Shofros. You have the three sets of brachas. So then we go to the Zichroinus. It's all from the Gemara at the end of Rosh Hashanah. Pirush. Al derech Moshe. This is by way of example. To say, to remember something, it only applies in a situation when there is something far, either in space or relative to his level comparison. So you say, oh, remember something from a distance. Then it applies to say remembering, to remember it and not to be forgotten from his house. But opposed to, if the item is next to you, it's close to you, Ein Shayich Loshen Zikoron Klau doesn't apply the Loshen of Zikoron remembering at all. Bekach Yuvon Lemailo Inyan Zikoron. Likewise, we'll understand above, this is the idea when we say remembering. We say by Hashem, blessed. We say, Yale Zichroineinu Chulu. Let our memory go up. Who? Why do we have to ask to remember? Because the truth is that the vitality of all the worlds, both the lower worlds and the upper worlds, and so relative, in truth, relative for him, blessed, they're considered like nothing. Kitipam meukionus, like a drop of the ukionus. So we have to, our memory has to go up, because in essence, we are really not of any significant, any value to the Eibishter. Kikol iker chayusam. Because their main vitality is from one thought that came up before Hashem, that there should be the creation and the separation of the world. One thought, that's called the earliest machshava. So, so this is as the non-value, the negation, the bittul of one thought relative to the nefesh as a whole, which has no value. So what does this machshava that the Eibishter had to create the world have any significance next to Kamei Yisborach, next to Hashem? So we have to ask Hashem to remember us. Rosh Hashanah when everything goes back as it was. That's what we were asking. That we should remember this earlier thought, also which went up at the time in the beginning, when the Eibishter was Maitzel, Atzilus in the world. So we're asking him and reminding him about the first thought. Since the truth is that that thought is like nothing, and it has no value no comparison to Hashem. L'chem mevakshim zochareinu, remember us. Sheyizkir al zeh, that he should remember this. V'yachzer li'islabish, b'mchinas machshova anal, that he should go and dress up again in that level of machshova to rebuild the world. So reminding basically Hashem to bring back that machshova of creation of the world, because the world has no value next to the Eibishter. Zeu shekosu, zeu she'emrim zoicher ma'aseh odom, ma'aseh olam. You remember the act of world when Eibishter created it. Ufoiket kol yitzurei kedem, and you remember all the earlier creations. Remember the covenant. Basically, we are asking for Hashem to give us that chayis, that machshava hagdum. V'ayim bepardes be'erka kenui meres zechira, v'ayim b'rayim behemna parshas pinchas daf resh l'mates omad aleph, beparshas ekev daf resh ayin aleph omad aleph, al posik azikir es shemi. ובפירוש הרמז שם, והאם מה שכוסו בדבר רמז חלאיסי לגפן, בפירוש מקדשי שמחל חולו, והאם בזוהר פרשת ויקל, דברי שם מדלב, ספר זיכורן, טריין דרגין, דאינון חד, ורוזדו, 2 levels that are one. This secret is Shem Havaya, Shem Chad, Havaya Chad. One day, Hashem Echad, Shmo Echad, basically. Shmo Echad, Hashem Echad. Whatever the discussion over there is, observe Pashas Yisrael, Davayin Omid Aleph, Vayim Asher Nizbayer, Le'il B'Pashas Shlacha Pasu, V'Zchartam Zchol Mitzvah Zchulu, L'man Tishkiru Chulu, V'Soif Divra Maschel Zocher Hashem HaShabbos, V'Inyan Zocher V'Shomer Chulu, V'Ayin Oid B'Zer Chelikal Pashas V'Ayeda Davkuf Chof Zocher Medbeis, and further Al Posuk V'Yizker Elikim. Now over there on the Posuk Yizker Elikim, over Pashas V'Yetz Davkuf Mumtaz Medbeis, we parshas b'shalach daf mzayin omid aleph al posik v'yizkor yimei olam kulu u'b'migdash melech sham v'ayim inyan yimei olam b'zer chel gimel se parshas nosi daf kumul omid beis l'chein t'chaim alon. So that brings down the idea. That's why the halacha is the Rosh Hashanah toiki b'shal zechorim. That on the Rosh Hashanah, the shofar that we use is a male. The Hainu shofar shel ayil. That's the shofar of an ayil, of a ram. I guess Zechorim Maloshon Zocher, because Zechorim male is also like remembering, and this is all the idea of Zechorim. V'ayim b'zer chelik aleph parshas vayichid apareish memvav amad aleph. The alma ilah, alma the duchrei. The world above is a world of masculine. So therefore, it's shaykh is also the ain of Zechorim, because that's the level of it. Okay, so Imru lefonai Zechroinis Malchis, then Zechroinis, then you say Ubamer b'Shofar. How do you come through the Shofar? Hinei Inyan HaShofar. Who? What is the idea of the Shofar? Shehu kol pashut shenimshach. That it's a simple voice that comes from the ear of the heart. It's not like speech, which comes from letters. That is the nimshach from the mind. This comes from the heart. The words, the letters that come into Dibur, they come from the letters of the thought. And the letters of Machshava, they come from Seichel. So that means that Dibur comes from the Bayach, because from the Machshava, and Machshava comes from the Seichel. As opposed to the simple voice, that comes from the ear of the heart, that is higher than seichel. It's going to say we have 2 levels in the leiv. We have one level, the chitzonius level, which is below seichel, but then we have the pnimius level, which is higher than seichel. In the heart, there is the external and the internal. The external part of the heart, that is below seichel, and receives seichel. Seichel directs it, you get it from the seichel. The pasuk says, that it's based on this seichel that a person is praised, which means that the excitement and the impact of the midas in the heart is based on the seichel, the intellect. Doesn't know. But that's only the lower level. This excitement in the midas is only from the external. No part of the heart, that is referred to as rotzin hatacht, in the lower level of rotzin. That is a rotzin lev that is born and is extended. That comes from the reflection, the meditation of the seichel. But the inner are the heart, that's called rotzin elyon. Einay mekabel the nimshach masechel klal elu gam l'mayel masechel doesn't receive. It does not extend from the seichel at all, but it's higher than seichel. So shenemar, and that's why we say levavi. Levavi we say many times. We find not libi but levavi with two bases. The mashmash in levavi is which appears to talk about two hearts. The outer part of the heart and the inner part of the heart. Explained elsewhere. Yofa at rayosi kitirza. This is a pasuk in Shirashirim. So rayosi means also rotzen, kitirza like the other rotzen, meaning the pnimis with the chitzonis. Rayosi melosha and the usa the liba. Rayosi comes from the language of rotzen alev shu rotzen atachtin, which is the lower level of rotzen. So we're asking kitirza yiya kitirza should be like the level of tirza want. Tirza means like a wanting, which is rotzen elyon shalamayim masechel, like the rotzen that's below, that's above seichel. So the level of rotzen, which is below yofat rayosi kitirza, the lower should be like the upper. I know you days. How do we do that? Yachid levavi, yachid levavi also levavi. You unite my hearts, make the chitzonis and the pnimis together. I'm a shekosov apostle Yaakov Moshe, va'apostle Mimona Afa Yaakov. I'm a shekosov v'ed mini chitzonis al pnimis alev. V'divra maschlatim netzavim u'bibiur apostle u'bibiur apostle levavtam. All right. So here we're all of a sudden saying that the heart is even higher than the moyach. So what do we say? Moyach shalit al halev? That the mind dominates the heart. I know al chitzonis halev. That's talking about the chitzonis of the lev. That's what the moyach dominates. That is created, that is given birth by the seichel. It's born out of the seichel. And the mind dominates it. Avol pnimis halev, but the inner of the heart, yoser govei mebchinas hamayach, that is at a higher level than the mayach. V'lochein hamayach mekabel mehalev, and that's why the mayach actually receives from the heart, from the pnimis halev. Ki yedua, we know sheikir hamazoynes he believe. Where is the food that sustains the person that's in the heart? Shesham boim hadomim mehakovet. Over there, the blood comes to the heart from the liver. Shemekabel mitztumko, who receives from the stomach, That gets the best of the food that turns into blood in the liver. And from there, the blood entered the heart. And then the moyach receives the vitality from the heart. So here you see, this is the higher level. That's the level in which the lave feeds the heart, the moyach, versus the moyach shalt al lave, which is on the chitzonis alev. The lachay nikra HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tzur Levavi. He's called Tzur Levavi. V'raisa Mechochma Nafkes Shu B'chinas Moyach U'chid L'kamon. So that's why we call him Tzur Levavi, of both hearts. And Eraisa is level of Moyach. So this is Levavi, the two hearts, the Chitzonis and Pnimius, and Torah is level of Moyach L'kamon. In a coil portion that the shofar of B'chinas Pnimius Halei. This simple sound of the shofar, that comes from the inner of the heart. That's the higher level of the heart. I knew what she calls it. This is like the pasuk says, Tzoak libam el Hashem. Their heart cries out to Hashem. Shetzakas alev. That screaming, that yell out, that comes from the inner of the heart. Vayim is abzer chelik beis parshas shmois daf yutes seifim and beis daf kol pomadalo. We parsed this berka kenuim erech tzoko. Vayim bender shel abishir hashirim al pasuk yenosi. Kulu hashminis kalecha ad ukshetzoku b'nei Yisrael v'nei HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'yad vayesh Hashem chulu. That's the whole Medrash Rabbah over there. V'shmeis Rabbah perik chafalav ha'posik v'titzak elai. It's the Parshamati tzakozum chulu v'ayim b'zer chelik beis. Parshas b'shalach daf min beis amid beis v'pirush ha'ramazsho. V'nimshach. So that nimshach. Neilad machmas hester. How does that come? That screaming out of Tzok Libam Al Hashem from the Pnimis Alev, that extends and that is created Machmas HaHester V'Hepech because of the block, because of the opposite. It brings out that level of screaming to Hashem. When the soul descends below, if he got pushed very far away from the light of the face of the living King, the blessed Ein Sof, so because of that obscurity, because of that descent, it increases very much. They're yelling out to Hashem. With his gale, b'chinas pnimis halev sheyesh b'kol echad v'echad misrael Hashem yizborech l'mayla masagos kenal, and it will be revealed the inner of the heart that is in every year to Hashem, which is beyond his undergrasping. That comes because there is obstacle, because there is interference, because there is a helam and a hester. So that's why you reach in and your pnimius comes out. That is the level of Baal Tshuva which comes with more force. And that's what they say they can't stand in their place because it's specifically because of this great blockage. That's why they're yelling out. And this is the ultimate, the goal of the descent of the souls into the body is to bring the righteous to the level of tshuva. While they were in Gan Eden, over there they were all tzaddikim. They were enjoying the Shechina. Shezeu Maisa tzaddikim. This enjoying the Shechina. This is the way the act of tzaddikim. Their services with the intellect, so they're enjoying intellectually. What happens? But later on, when they descended, they become an aware about Tshuva. Now they become about Tshuva. They want to go back above. Because now there's something blocking, obscuring. That's why the tzaka becomes so big. That's the inner of the heart. Mamer, how you do? All right, let's leave over here and then we'll continue.